I actually died. And in my mind, I saw this, but people keep telling me, says, Fred, you're going to go to 100. I said, oh, no, baby. Oh, Thai people are so difficult sometimes.
What way?
Well, I could die tomorrow or today even. When I made up my mind to move to Thailand, I made up my mind to move to Thailand. But this was UV poisoning.
From the sun?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any regrets in your life? Like, is
No.
there anything that you
The
regret?
answer is no.
Fred, how old are you now?
92.
And how long ago did you come to Thailand for the first time?
80 years old when I first came here. My wife was Thai, and she is no longer with us, and she passed away. She lived in the U.S. for 40 years, and so we've been a busy family, so we retired actually at 81 and moved here permanently, and we bought our house and did all those wonderful things to start off in here, and I enjoyed the country. It's beautiful. I'm raised an outdoor guy. I've been a farmer, both cowboy. Started actually working when I was about 7 years old. I've had my own business since then. Started off putting a farm in our backyard. My folks showed me how to cook, bake, and grow a lot of stuff. So, and used that, and I swept a lot of rakes and leaves and snow, lots of snow. And so my business was basically lawn work in my early days at 7 years old, 8 years old, and on up. And of course I did a lot of sports in school along with everything else. We worked as my senior year in high school. I was the assistant gym master with the coach and so forth. They paid me 3 days a week, 50 cents a day. If I finally went into the military, I was in the military for 12 years. I joined the Naval Reserve when I was pretty young. The times before I could get into class were extensive, and so I just switched services and went to the Air Force. And really enjoyed the Air Force. I'm a pilot personally, private pilot myself, and spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico, 3.5 years. A lot of hours on the old B-36 and a few other airplanes. I finally got out of the service. I already had a business, and I incorporated my business. I was in marketing and sales. I got a lot in the direct sales business. I did a lot of travel throughout the United States, putting together sales teams, management teams. Moved to Colorado after I got through tearing up the country with my airplane and so forth, and enjoyed that. But actually I've spent 50 years in Colorado, and I love the mountains and that kind of atmosphere. I had a horse in Wyoming because I worked also in Wyoming for four months and learned a lot about horseback riding, and had 10,000 head of cattle, and we did a trail ride up in the mountains of Wyoming to bring the cattle down and put them on the range, all that kind of stuff.
Let me ask you, how did you meet your wife?
I met my wife in Colorado. Her sister-in-law, who was a Thai, had married a gentleman in Colorado who I was in business with, or I did business with, I should say that. And she was working in the East Coast. She was a garde-manger chef.
Okay.
Absolutely superb. And she was well known. She worked in 4- and 5-star hotels. She decided she wanted to come to Colorado because she'd been there before and worked at a couple of the Denver 5-star hotels there at one time. And she wanted to come back to Colorado and see her sister-in-law. So we spent some time and knew each other for a year. And I was a single guy for over 13 years, and was raising 2 children. I've got a lot of children.
How many children do you have, Fred?
7.
7 children.
3 biological and 1 adopted. Ty is my adopted Thai daughter, and I had the pleasure of raising 2 of the little ones early on when in Colorado. And that was a great experience for 13 years before I made the big switch and decided to finally get married again. She passed away at 72 here. She got very sick. She was also sick in the States for a while. She had cancer for 5 years and plus a rehab period. And that was just a year and a half before we decided to move here. She wanted to retire. She was working one, if not two jobs sometimes because of her style of being able to be a commerce chef and also a pastry chef. And everybody really wanted her, so she was busy.
And how many years were you together then in total?
Total of 22 altogether by the time we dated. And she passed away 7 years ago for this coming year here. So she got cancer again, really bad. And she couldn't handle it this time around. So, and Ty was her carekeeper. And so when she passed away, we had a great relationship here. And she was like family because she lived here during the care period. And I asked her to stay on, and she's also a licensed masseuse as well as a licensed caregiver.
Was it a romantic relationship that you had?
It was we got to be really close, really good friends. We've got some pictures that you can probably see. She had been married before and no children. And of course I had a lot of children.
Over the years on this channel, I've tried to work with partners that not only support the production of this kind of content, but also that subscribers get something back from. One such partner that I know that many of my subscribers have got a lot of benefits from is Surfshark VPN. If you don't already use a VPN, I'd like to share with you some reasons why it may be useful for you. If you're anything like me and you travel a lot, you end up connecting to many different Wi-Fis, different airports, hotels and restaurants. And when you connect, you really think nothing of it. You just get on with your business, connecting to your social media apps, even sometimes your banking apps. But the reality is you have no idea who else may be on those networks. And it's not just about some obvious attack, it's the subtle tracking in the background. Sometimes websites build profiles on you and collect data on your activity online. This is exactly why I use Surfshark VPN. I keep it running in the background. It encrypts everything, it hides my location, and it keeps me protected no matter where I'm connected. If you would like to try it out for yourself and get 4 months extra, you can now use my code word NAKEDGURU at checkout. Download the app or go to www.surfshark.com/nakedguru. And that's a money-back guarantee, so if it doesn't work out for you, for whatever reason, you get your money back. Those links are in the description and the pinned comment below. What do you think the secret is to getting older, living a healthy life? Is there a special diet you follow, or is there anything?
I don't have a special diet. I'm a meat and potatoes guy from that part of the country. Although I love the Thai food, I don't eat as much of it because I grew up on the potato meat and program. And lots of milk, and that doesn't happen here very often. They just don't have the quality of meats and so forth that we usually used to in the U.S. I've taught tennis and played in tennis tournaments in Puerto Rico and around the country and so forth. And I exercise, 6 days a week.
You still exercise now?
6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't do as much walking. I got a cane to do my walking with, but I do the weights and all the other stuff. And I was playing a lot of golf here when I first got here. I haven't been playing golf for 3 years now. It's driving me crazy because I love to play golf.
And were you ever a drinker or a smoker?
Yeah, I used to be. I quit smoking in 1989. Put the pack away and never touched it again. And not much of a drinker, a social drinker, but I never got too far out of control.
Do you still drink now or not?
No, I don't drink. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since I got to Thailand.
Well,
yeah, I took a look at the driving in Bangkok, and I said, I'm not going to be driving and drinking in this country.
And you have actually been driving in this country, right? You were just telling me about your license earlier. You've been driving until what age? Yeah.
Oh, I was driving until just 3 months ago, and I just didn't want to renew my license. And Nui and we have 2 other people that drive, but Ty drives, but she doesn't want to do it all the time. And I just sit in the back seat now and enjoy the ride. When I renewed it the last time, they didn't even let me. I didn't have to take a test. The guy walked in there and says, "Hey," he says, "Oh, you're back here, Frederick." He said, "Let me look." "Oh, you're fine. You don't need to take this." So I got relicensed again for another 5 years. And fortunately, I haven't had, knock on wood, no accidents and no hurt on my car. So, I'm sort of enjoying it, doing it.
Being chauffeured.
Being chauffeured, yeah, I haven't had that happen. I've got 1.5 million, almost 3 million, 2 million miles on the road in the U.S., along with 1.5 million in the air, commercially, not including my private time, not including my military time in the air. Oh, my goodness.
What have you learned in your life from the military days, like through the life that you've lived? What would you say have been your biggest lessons in life?
Well, the military is a good place to go for some people. In fact, I would recommend it for anybody that really wanted to learn how to take control of their lives. More importantly, the restrictions that you have when you are in the military are great for getting you organized and getting certain things in your lifestyle in order.
So you live quite a very organized life, it sounds, with the military, with being a pilot. All of this requires a lot of discipline, right?
Yeah, it does.
And do you have any regrets in your life? Like, is there anything that you
The answer is no. I've had a lot of circumstances, and we all do in life, challenges, but I've had a great life. I told a group of people last Saturday night when we were doing a thing at the church, and they asked me to stand up and share with them what my most important experience was when I became a Christian. And that changed my value system considerably, because a lot of times when you're young, and like I was, ambitious, I was always looking for the money, for a long time, and you can't chase the money, that's for sure. You got to get your values in shape, and it's not and that was more of the money, family, and God, in that order. And that was really the wrong way. The correct way to look at it from a perspective of being a success personally, physically, and in business is God is first, family second, business is third. The money comes later. You don't have to worry about the money. It's not your money anyway when it comes right down to it. So that's kind of the format for the last 50 some odd years that I've sort of honored. And people think that I'm too happy. The answer is no. I can't be happy enough. Life is good.
So for the passing of your wife then, in your belief, you're going to be meeting again in heaven, right?
I'm sure. Oh, yeah.
So for you, was it a traumatic time, or was it a very natural passing? How did you deal with it?
Yeah, well, I finally had to. She got so sick, and she passed away in the Bangkok hospital here. I put her in the hospital for the last week that she was really sick, because the government hospital was too busy here in Thailand to do something comfortable, and so I had her in the Bangkok hospital, and she was not doing well, and I knew it, and the doctor and I have had several conversations. So it came to a point where at the end of a week, and she'd had a lot of friends to visit with her, and so forth. She was a happy camper. She was a Christian, believe it or not. She was a diehard Thai person, and I've spent enough time in the temples around here, and which I enjoy. I understand where they are because I spent 2 years studying up on Buddhism and so forth, so that I try to fit into the community. The only thing I didn't do well is language. With my 3 other languages, my Thai teacher, after 2 years, says, "Fred, I'm going to make a suggestion to you. Why don't you just forget about it, and once you get a translator, put it in your phone and go forward. Because I don't have any trouble communicating with the Thai people, surprisingly enough."
Well, you would have been 80 at the time, so you can be forgiven.
Oh, yeah, I was 81,
You can be forgiven, Fred, for not learning a language at 81.
Well, it's still difficult, although to understand most of it. Yeah, and Thai doesn't speak that much English, but we don't have any trouble in the communication line.
Do you find it easy to reconcile the Christianity with the Buddhism then? You said you'd spent some time looking into it.
Yeah.
You find it reconcilable?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of what they do in the Buddhist life that replicates itself within the Christian world. It might not be my format, for sure, but I certainly do understand it. It's a great experience to understand where you're living. If you're going to live someplace, you might as well try to get a real understanding of your surroundings. You can't be a monk, so to speak, and think that you're going to get along well. You're not going to have a very happy existence.
Fred, what do you live for now? What is inspiring you? What do you look forward to? What is your life about now?
Well, my life is great. I'm getting a chance to read more, and of course I was participating in all the church services and doing the sermons and communion services and so forth for right after I got here, and that was really for me it was very enjoyable because I needed the time off of not being busy, which took me a couple of years to get rid of that. When you're busy in life as I was, and you work in as many things as I was doing, and responsible for all kinds of things for yourself and your family, you get caught up into that, and unfortunately, if you don't recognize the time that you need to take off, that you need to put your feet up, that you need to read a good book. When my wife was really sick, you can go one of two ways. You can ignore it, you don't work with it, you don't understand it, or whatever the case was. But I'm not that kind of an individual. I didn't miss a doctor's appointment, I didn't miss a chemo appointment, I didn't miss any after appointments. I wanted to be involved in what was going on so that I understood what was going on. And the Bible, in essence, tells you how to handle those things.
Would you say that what you dealt with your wife was the most difficult part of your life, or can you remember a time in the past where things were even more difficult than that?
There were always difficult times, one short of another. I spent more time in a hospital here in Thailand than I ever did in my entire life. It's a crazy situation. I had an infection on my leg, and I was doing my exercises, and I broke that particular piece. The next morning, my leg was black. So I went to the hospital, obviously, and they said, "Oh yeah, right, Fred." And I was laying on the gurney, and they had me hooked up, with your blood pressure and your oxygen, and the equipment quit. The hospital didn't quit. That one piece of equipment that was monitoring me stopped. The nurse standing next to my bed was having, I guess she told me all this afterwards. She says, "I almost had a heart attack." because they were going to go for the paddles right now for me, because I was gone. And I actually died. And in my mind, I saw this beautiful collection of beauty in the sky, of all kinds of beautiful colors. And I yelled out to my wife, "Yusini, are you there?" Now, I didn't know that. Well, I did after it happened. But the nurse told me I did that. And it was probably a second or maybe two, she said, because everything quit on the bottom monitor and I went straight line. And she said they were going for it all right then and there. But I woke up. It didn't faze me a bit. Except I still remember that very beautiful picture of all these multicolors in the sky. I still remember asking to see my wife. And the nurse said, "That's what you said." I said, "Ooh, that ought to be fun." And that was an experience. So I can relate to people when they're talking about when people die and so forth. It's really not difficult. It's not and my father died, my mom died, my grandpa died. I was there with my grandma when she passed away. I mean, everybody gets sad. You know, you might even have a tear or two or more, depending on the circumstances. But it's not necessary to put your whole life on hold for months on end or whatever some people do in those critical circumstances or personal, because I had, if I could show you my legs on here, yep. I was there. These legs are two different colors. Mm-hmm. This one and this one are two different. Both of them. The left leg was the one right here. Mm-hmm. It's still a little piece there, and it's been 5 years since I did that. Mm-hmm. And I broke that piece there. But this was UV poisoning.
UV poisoning?
UV poisoning.
From the sun?
Oh, yeah. Because I'm always out in the sun. And at this altitude at 0, out in the golf course, even though I've been swimming in the oceans all over the place, and I was dark as you could get, mm-hmm. It took me 8 months, all new skin. This is all new skin from here down and from here down. Mm-hmm. It's all new skin. I just don't have anything to be negative on.
Even your health condition?
Even my health history, even my parents' health issues, whatever. I mean, it happens. It's life. So there's no sense of beating yourself to death and hurting yourself mentally and physically to rectify any of that. It doesn't make any sense.
Is there an age you want to live to, Fred? Or?
I sort of geared myself up for 95. But people keep telling me, says, "Fred, you're going to go to 100. I said, "Oh, no, baby." Oh, I don't know if I am or not. That's up to God's word. I don't have any control of that stuff. I could die tomorrow or today even.
And you seem like a person that's still enjoying the life, though.
Yeah, I enjoy life, period. I've always enjoyed life. If you had an alternative, let me ask you a question. If you wanted to be sad or happy, which would you choose?
It's a little bit difficult. I'm very in the middle.
So I'm sure that you are doing what you do.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure most people would choose happy.
They'd like to be happy, but they aren't. Mm-hmm. Why?
Maybe they look at the problem in life instead of miss everything else.
You got it. You got it. It's like looking like, yes, what did you do yesterday? What do you care about yesterday? It's gone. You might as well start yourself a new life.
I have a lot of subscribers here to the channel that are in their 60s and 70s. Some of them have come to the point where they feel they just couldn't do it at this age. And you did it at around 81. What would your advice be to them?
Well, my first question would be, what do you want to do when you do move to Thailand? What is your formal, what are you thinking back here to do? Well, my wife and I talked about it long before we came here. And I had not been in Thailand until we took 2 trips here. That's one of the trips I bought this house and a car and all this other stuff. And because my wife wanted to do it, and I said, well, she gave me an option when we were talking about this. She said, well, you can certainly stay here in the States and just fly out and see me every 5, 6 months. I said, are you crazy? That's not what works. If you're going to marry somebody, you're going to stick with it. If you're going to move someplace, you might as well go with it. She went to full bore with me because I was always busy. You know, I had 16-hour days all the time.
And being so busy, did you have time for your kids and stuff? You know, did you have time?
Not enough.
Not enough?
Not enough. Thinking back on it, I'm not dwelling on it. It is what it is. And I could have spent a lot more time, and I would have, had my priorities in the beginning been straight and stuff. And I would have liked to have spent more time with a couple of my boys. My daughters are doing fine. My 63-year-old is still teaching progressive dancing, Christian dancing, ballet.
And your boys are living in America? Or?
Oh yeah, they're all in America.
Do they visit you here? Or?
No. They haven't gotten around to doing that. Even though I told them, I said, well, he said, why don't you come back and visit? Well, I've been there 3-4 times. I had my heart surgery in the VA hospital in Denver, so I did spend an extra couple of weeks messing around, but I said, you know, I'm not going to come back. When I made up my mind to move to Thailand, I made up my mind to move to Thailand. As I said, my wife said, well, you could just stay right here and come visit. I said, you out of your mind. That's not the way marriage works, you know.
Yeah. It's for life, all circumstances.
Yeah, well, once you make that kind of commitment, get married. I'd been married twice before, so.
For your previous wives, it just broke up because you were too busy. With
That's
all of this
exactly
stuff, right?
correct.
So
Yeah.
you're too busy. In
One
this.
was I was too much going TDY in the military, and the next one, I was just too busy doing my business. Should have paid more attention, although we're still good friends.
If you were to look back over the 92 years, what do you think is one of the most important things you've learned in life?
Oh my goodness. I like helping people be successful. I like to see the restaurants that I've worked with be successful. So I've done it all in the restaurant business, from pots and pans to having a restaurant, a first-class restaurant or two. And
so you seem a person that looks at life through the lens of business,
yeah.
and network and people and sales. Is that has been a big part of your life? Or?
Well, sales is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm a marketing guy. You say, Fred, I'm having trouble putting this product together. Well, what can I do? And I said, well, let me have at it for a little while. If I do a good job, you pay me. If I don't do a good job, you don't pay me. That's how I work.
Mm-hmm. That's where in your life, that's where you felt alive and engaged in that kind of environment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people. I love getting together with people. I spend a lot of time, I'd rather help you. You don't have to necessarily pay me for anything. If I feel the need to, if you ask me a question and you want an answer, you get it for free.
So for you, it's about helping people, teaching people. That's the important thing for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Always has been.
There's a final questions here. In the community, how are you accepted in the community? Do you spend much time with Thai people here?
Sure.
Do you know your neighbors?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you feel? Do you feel like a foreigner here? Do you feel very integrated?
No, I integrate with them. Yeah, I walk all around over here, so. And they see me. Oh, yeah. They finally did, eventually. Some of them are really so. Thai people are so difficult sometimes.
In what way?
Well, if they don't speak English, and you are English, they ain't saying much. They don't want to chance themselves saying something bad because they know Thai. And my challenge is always like going to the big shopping center, Robinson's Center over there. I've trained in this in my sermons at church too. Is learning how to be a people person. And you see, the Thai guys are the toughest. They have no sense of humor at all. Women are a little bit more open. If you smile, they smile. I go to the store. The clerks I know think I'm crazy. Because I always tell them, I say, well, you're going to have a good day, aren't you? Happy day. Have a good day. And they say, what? They don't get that from the Thai people. Thai people go through, pay the bill, out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're talking to the cashier.
They don't talk to the cashier. I do.
What do you say to them?
Well, I say, well, how are you doing today? Are you having a good day? And sometimes they can speak a little bit of English, sometimes they don't. But Thai knows, because she's usually with me, it's a challenge. Get people to smile, have a good day. I have a good day every day. I don't have bad days. And it doesn't sound good, necessarily. But I truly have a good day every day. Because I have a goal every night when I go to sleep of making a good day today. I can't do anything about yesterday. It's gone.
And finally, what do you hope for the future, for the rest of your days here in Thailand? What would you hope it would be?
To continue doing what I'm doing and doing the church work. And I'm not doing the sermons like I was doing every week. Before we had a pastor. We finally got a pastor, a guy from the U.S., and they wanted to make the bishop, who was in charge of all of Thailand, said, well, I'm going to make you the... I said, no, you're not. I said, at my age, you're not going to do that. You don't want me. You want to talk to Jerry, who's in his 60s. He said, just let me do my thing. And that's putting together groups and events and so forth. It's what I'm good at.
Yeah, but it seems that you've, even with your wife passing, you're still enjoying life, Fred, that you're enjoying your life here in Thailand.
Absolutely.
And thank you for sharing your story with me today, Fred.
That's not a problem.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.